Well, good morning, Happy New Year, buon anno 2022, 2022. We're here. And this is the first lesson in the new year, 2022. And it's a special one because I feel we're making quite a lot of progress in terms of the grammar that I am presenting. And as I said, if you are or want to learn Italian or want to improve it, just go through my lessons and make sure that you know each one. You know the grammar in each one. You're very familiar with the grammar because then with that familiarity, you will be able to improve both the spoken and written language. It's, la pratica batte la grammatica. La pratica is every single day. Language follows us all day, every day of our life, if we are lucky enough to have a voice. Because otherwise, then, this is a gift that the universe has given us, the gift of voice, the gift of hearing, the gift of seeing. And if you don't have any of those, you obviously have to work some other way in which to make up the difference. The fact that you don't have those particular faculties. Now, that's saying something about people who are disabled in particular areas of the body. So, but language, whether you can use it or not, is still very important. You have to get around it if you don't have it. And it's the same when you go to another country, you don't speak their language. What do you do? Now, in today's world, and I've experienced this firsthand, a young person came to a town in Italy, didn't speak Italian, of course. He got his iPhone out and put the translator. And I've seen it here in Melbourne with Chinese. I've seen a few people using that facility. However, knowing the language firsthand is quite a challenge for everybody, and learning other languages is also a challenge. So don't blame yourself if you lack something. I'm still learning all the time. And now that I'm doing these lessons here, I'm sort of getting back into what I love doing in my life. And the fact that I don't have to look after a whole group of students every day, it's a blessing in a way, but at the same time I miss the contact. So the contact can come now if people actually want to learn the language, want to improve it, want to tailor their own programs. La pratica, you can call me and I'll be more than happy to help. And also when I am doing these lessons, if you want to ask something, just write it down, say how, explain this or do this, and then when I've got time, I'll do it. See how it goes. At the moment, this is lesson 12, I think. I can't remember now. I think it's lesson 12, because we've done lesson 11 last week. So here we go. Normally I'm very organised that way, knowing the lessons one after the other. I've checked it up just before, but it doesn't matter. Today's work will be il passato remoto, the past absolute tense. And that's the last one of the simple tenses in the indicative mood. So after today, we will have done the present tense, the future tense, the imperfect tense, and the past absolute. These last two are past tenses. The imperfect tense explains when in the past an action that goes on for a period of time in the past, and the past absolute is one bang, one action in the past. That's the best way of explaining it. So, 11:29. I've got 1 minute more to explain also that I've enjoyed these classes so much, these presentations, term them classes, whatever you want to call them, lessons. But what I really want to do as well, I want to do other things. So I'm going to, in the other days of the week, because I'm here at Insegna on most days, but I don't want a commitment to the next lot of things that I'm going to do. I'm going to call them TomPadula Live specials. So live specials, I'll be doing anything at all, anything to do with knowledge, whether it's history, whatever it is, I will try to do these Tom Padula live specials. And I've done a lot of work in terms of my poetry, my writings, and also there's a lot of Italian literature that I can present, and French, etc. So these are going to be Tom Padula special live. I'm going to call them number 1, 2, 3 as we move along. But I will announce them at the beginning of the week, whether I'm going to do one or not, and we'll take it from there. Very likely I'll do one this Friday or next Friday, depending on, because I haven't announced them yet. So and there won't be 1 hour. It'll be whatever time it takes to finish a particular job. Okay, so 11:31 we're going to start. Now I said we're going to do the past absolute tense in English. Past absolute tense is one action in the past. It describes one action in the past. Now, also, I said to you that we would do the verbs, and the verbs are there are the various indicative mood, the various moods of the verb, and I want to go through those first before I start, because it's important that you see exactly what I'm doing. Welcome, Marisa, Maria, Jose, and Dino. Well, fantastic. Thank you very much for coming on. Well, here we go. Now, these are the indicative moods. The mood. There are 7 tenses. I think, where are we? Here. These are the moods, okay? There are 3 conjugations, 7 moods: indicative, conditional, subjunctive, imperative, gerund, participle, and infinitive. Now, the indicative has 8 tenses. And I will not only do the Italian ones, but I will also be presenting the English as well as we move along. And then I'll come back to the English to consolidate. So the present tense we've done of the auxiliary verbs, and the auxiliary verbs are essere and avere, to be and to have. Then we did the future tense, and then I went back to the imperfect tense, and then the past absolute tense. And basically, the past absolute is the one that causes more trouble in terms of the conjugations, because there are a lot of the verbs have an irregular past absolute tense. There are the rule is still there, but more than the other 3, the past absolute, we will have to come back to the bits that are irregular. Because otherwise, you know, when you read, you won't be able to recognise certain past absolutes in the are, ere, and ira verbs, and also in the auxiliary verbs. So here we go. Now that's that. Now I tempi in Italiano, they're called I tempi, the tenses, and they are presente, imperfetto, passato, remoto, and futuro. And then there are 4 here. Composti, they are compound tenses. You use the auxiliary verb and also the past participle of the verb. And the past participle, as I said before, you need to. There are only 2 in the infinitive. You get the infinitive and the past infinitive, but you also got the participle and the gerund. The participle in the present acts like an adjective, and also then in the past it goes along with like I have eaten. I have, and then eaten is the participle, passato, participio passato. Okay, there are also other types of verbs or other sections which we'll cover later, and we've done all this. So we've done quite a bit so far. We've done quite a bit. And now we've done the imperfect, and here we are. And we did a bit of the punctuation, and I'll introduce more conjunctions after we do this. Now, essere, we're going to start with the auxiliary verb, the auxiliary verb essere. I was getting confused there because I was, in English, can be both imperfect, and past absolute. We don't have a past absolute like in Italian. It's I was, but it's one action in the past. I was there. Boom. It doesn't continue. But, then with the practice, I'll be able to show you this. But in Italian, here we are. The first one, very regular, essere, it's io fui, tu fosti, lui, lei fu, without an accent on the U. Noi fummo, voi foste, loro furono. I was, you were, he or she was, we were, you were, they were. Now the passato remoto, also, passato remoto, past absolute, is used to refer to one or more actions in the past. So that's it. That's the one. Don't get confused. You have to learn this off by heart eventually. Io fui, tu fosti, lui, lei fu, noi fummo, voi foste, loro furono. But in Italian, unlike in English, you don't need to put io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, loro. It's understood when you see the verb on its own. It's understood that that's the first voice, second voice, third voice in the singular, first voice, second voice, third voice in the plural. Okay? Now, that's for essere. We're going to go now to avere, and I'm going to come back to me. Avere is to have. But in English this time, we do have a past absolute. And here it is. I had, you had, he or she had, we had, you had, and I had. And in Italian it's io ebbi, tu avesti, lui, lei ebbe, noi avemmo, voi aveste, loro ebbero. So there you are. I had, you had, he or she had, we had, you had, they had. Now, as I said, grammar is finite. It's like the motor of a car, the parts of a car. Once you've learned the parts, then you know all about the car. You can be a mechanic of the language. But if you just want to drive the car, you need to practice to actually drive it. Same as with language. Doesn't matter which language it is, the same things apply. So if you're learning French, Spanish, Croatian, Macedonian, Russian, Chinese, Indonesian, whichever language. The only thing is, some languages like German, Latin, they don't have the prepositions. So when you don't have a preposition, they have what they call a declension. They use different, like the verbs, you use a different ending to mean of or to or at or from, etc. Okay? So basically all languages do it this way. So io ebbi, tu avesti, lui, lei ebbe, noi avemmo, voi aveste, loro ebbero. I had, you had, he or she had, we had, you had, and I had. Now, that's the past absolute for the two auxiliary verbs, verbi ausiliari. In other words, auxilia in Latin means to help. So they help the other verbs, are, ere, and ire, in the composite tenses. So here we go. Now these are the are, ere, and ire verbs. And I'll just repeat again. Are, ere, ire. Ire in Italian, in Italy, I was taught there was a third conjugation and a fourth one. They are the same. They all end up like capire and dormire. They end up in ire. But the endings of the verb changes in the present, but doesn't change in the imperfect. So there are irregularities within it. And that's hard to master. But it's not impossible. And the more you read, the more you write, the easier it becomes. So you can try, get an exercise book, and I'll show you how to write simple sentences and then add, by adding various parts of the speech, you can extend the sentence that you're writing. And also you can reduce, same thing. It's another exercise. So the past absolute of are verbs, all are verbs like parlare, portare. Okay, here we go. Parlare, portare. I've chosen those two. Now, in English, it's I spoke, you spoke, he spoke, she spoke, we spoke, you spoke, and they spoke. 3 singular, 3 plural. Also, in English, remember, I did speak. So it's a past absolute tense. You did speak, etc. Okay? And that's used for asking questions. Did you speak at the age of 2? Did Caesar speak Latin? Okay? So in English we have 2 passato remoto, past absolute tenses. And see that? I've inverted them. I started with one, ended up with the other one. So as you move along, when you're learning, you're making mistakes. And so what? As long as you end up getting that knowledge for yourself, doesn't matter whether the mistakes are there or not. The more mistakes you make, the better it is for you to identify your own mistakes, like I do. I'm the first critic of Tom Padula, because when I make a mistake, bad luck, let's go on. I just laugh it off and you keep going. So in Italian, notice the endings here. The endings are different. That's why you don't need the subject pronoun when you're writing. I can say parlai a Cesare quando me lo sognai, when I dreamed of him. I spoke to Caesar when I dreamed of him. I dreamed of him. See, in English, notice there. Io parlai, tu parlasti, lui parlò, an accent on the R. Noi parlammo, voi parlaste, loro parlarono. And the advantage of this, all the are verbs all have the same ending, except if they are irregular. So that's different from maths, okay? Or even a good science formula, they're pretty specific. But if you say portare, to carry, io portai, tu portasti, lui lei portò, noi portammo, voi portaste, loro portarono. Ballare, io ballai, tu ballasti, lui lei ballò, noi ballammo, voi ballaste, loro ballarono. Pick up a dictionary, Italian dictionary, or another textbook, and pick out at the back there you'll find lots of are verbs, lots of them. And that's the ending. Now, notice that parlai. Now when we got to the past absolute of ere verbs, ere verbs, like ripetere, temere. I actually had a bit of difficulties finding the ones that are regular, because a lot of them are irregular in the passato remoto, in the past absolute. But in English, it's the same. I repeated, you repeated, he or she repeated, we repeated, you repeated, they repeated. And also, don't forget, I did repeat, you did repeat, he or she did repeat, we did repeat, you did repeat, they did repeat. Did you repeat your lesson? Yes, I did repeat it. And then did you? So that's the question. So you can't say repeated. You just can't do that in English. That's the past absolute. So there are 2 of them in English, only 1 in Italian, and I suspect in French I think it's the same. There's only 1 as well. So that's io in italiano. Io ripetei, tu ripetesti, lui lei ripeté, noi ripetemmo, voi ripeteste, loro ripeterono. So if you want to look up what does the word ripeteste mean in English, you have to go back to the infinitive of the verb. So you drop the este and you add ere, ripetere. Ripetei, drop the I and you add ere. So it gives you, the actual tense gives you the clue of which conjugation it is. So that's important. Now, the next one is, of course, the third conjugation one. Okay? And these are the same, again, these are the same for with the regular ire verbs, whether it's capire or dormire, doesn't matter. The endings are the same in the regular form. Because here again, it causes problems because a lot of them are irregular. And I'll give you the list eventually. Today I'm not going to do it because it's too much. I want to finish the verb, the indicative mood first. Then I want to do the conditionals, the subjunctive, the imperative, and the 6 other parts, gerund, infinitive, and the past participle. I'll do those. Then once I've done this, I said, well, my dear, adult students, whoever you are, wherever you are, if you want to have an explanation of these things, go to lesson 11, go to lesson 12, go to lesson 7. I will not have to repeat it. And that's the advantage of online learning. You don't have to be there to bang your head against your student's head. So in a school situation now, as an ex-curriculum officer of the education department, I would suggest that the best way to teach in these days is a combination of face-to-face and live. And the worse the student is, the more live or more face-to-face classes you'll give that person. It depends. So if they need more attention, but if they're uncooperative and they don't want to be there, well, they say, okay. Then you put the onus back onto the parents or the guardians or the state, wherever it is, wherever you are. Because that's the way learning has to progress in schools. And the pandemic has done a lot, together with the technology, to improve the quality of education for students. And education means also moral education, this and that. Whereas what I'm doing now, is called instruction. In a Saturday school, for example, we didn't call them teachers, we called them instructors. Because the students weren't there to be educated in a sense of their social, although that's important. That was the role of the day school. When it came to Saturday morning, you chose to do that language, therefore it was presumed that you would behave accordingly. Otherwise, you didn't have to go there in the first place. So that's a bit of philosophy there, educational philosophy, why not? Otherwise, this gets very boring for me. Okay, past absolute of ire verbs. Here we go. Finire and also, then we'll do dormire, okay? Io finii, tu finisti, lui, lei finì. Noi finimmo, voi finiste, loro finirono. So if you want the infinitive of the verb, what do? You drop the double I, finire. You drop the ISTI. You drop the I with the accent. I should have underlined those. Finimmo, finiste, finirono. But if you've done previous lessons, it should be there by now. Okay, so I finished, you finished, he or she finished, we finished, you finished, they finished, I did finish, you did finish. Okay. Use the above in English to form questions, also for emphasis. I did finish the lesson. What are you talking about? So emphasis as well as the use of questions. Use the above in English to form questions, also for emphasis. There are many irregular ire verbs that are conjugated differently in the passato remoto. I will come back to the irregular verbs in future lessons. This is a big and important area of grammar. Okay, so today I've done the are, ere, and ire verbs plus the irregular verbs, and I have my second phone here that gives me time, 11:49, which is good. I've done this in 20 minutes. Do I need to do this more? I don't. Once I've done this presentation here, it's not up to me anymore. It's up to you. And I suggest if you want to learn Italian, now we're going to go to the pratica. Okay? So basically, that's it for today in terms of my presentation of the past absolute tense. I hope I've done a reasonable job for you, and you can also go back to it during the week. And yep, I also made arrangements, by the way, for the 23rd and the 30th of January to go on a Sunday from 3:30 to 5. They've given me the okay to meet people who follow me online, and I'm going to explain or present the Inferno, Dante's Alighieri Inferno, as a whole. It'll be done in two parts, part 1 and part 2. There are 34 cantos, and because I've gone through 17 of them by this coming Sunday, or 18 this coming Sunday, I've done 17, then by that time I will have done 22, 23, and we're close to the finish, when we then, in the final canto, will meet Lucifer. But also another opportunity there will be if people want to learn Italian and ask me questions directly, and what books, where you're at, what you should do, etc., then I can help out that way. So I invite you from now, pass the word around. The club will be very happy if I can bring some people there on a Sunday. Italian clubs need a hand, that's for sure. Okay, well, that's that. I'm going to go now to the pratica, la pratica. And I've done the songs. I've done a bit of work for the songs. If you remember the songs, let's do this one here. Okay. This one here, if you remember, we did the words. We did the words of Carissimo Pinocchio, right? And these are the words, il gatto, and you know these. By now, I expect you to have learned, to have learned or to have brought up Carissimo Pinocchio. Let's see if you can, the way we can handle this first one, because the first stanza here, you can read it out. And here I go. Ho tanto desiderio questa sera di scrivere una lettera a qualcuno, e fra gli amici della primavera al mio più caro amico scriverò. Notice the verbs, scrivere, all right? Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, di tutti i miei segreti che confidavo a te. Carissimo Pinocchio, ricordi quand'ero bambino, nel bianco mio lettino, ti sfogliai, ti parlai, ti sognai. There you are. One action in the past. Ti sfogliai, ti parlai, ti sognai. That's the past absolute tense. Dove sei ti vorrei veder, del tuo mondo vorrei saper, forse babbo, Geppetto è con te. Notice veder, saper. It's vedere, sapere. Second conjugation verb. Dov'è il gatto che ti ingannò, il buon grillo che ti parlò, e la fata turchina dov'è? Notice, ti ingannò, ingannare, to deceive. You drop the O with the accent and you did I-R-E, ingannare is the verb. Parlò, accent on the O, you drop the O and you have parlare. You can look up parlare in the dictionary. You can only look up the infinitive of the verb in the dictionary. I keep on repeating this, even though I know the three of you know. But other people in the future who look at these lessons, they will need to. This needs to be pointed out to them. That's where the repetition comes in. The more you repeat something in a classroom, the more you repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Our new teachers, had a brilliant. They were a brilliant reputation in schools. They only did very little, but repeated a lot. And so when they gave an exam, everybody passed. 90%. And it reflected on them. Whereas if you're ambitious and you gave a test of things that the poor, the kids didn't have time to learn or whatever, they failed. Whose fault was it? Well, as somebody said to me, 25%, if 75% fail, it's your fault, Tom. Go and learn how to teach, even though you know how to teach, but you're not passing it on. So you've got to go slower, like in traffic. You can't go at 60 kilometres an hour in a 40-kilometre zone. You get into trouble. Okay. Carissimo Pinocchio, amico dei giorni più lieti, con tutti I miei segreti, resti ancora nel mio cuore come allora. Now you don't have to sing this. You can just read the song out. That was the first one. The second one, that was Carissimo Pinocchio. The words, and you can do this too. You can identify them. You can identify the words in Carissimo Pinocchio. You don't have to wait for me. And you can translate them as well, because I use this as plurals, if you remember. So do you know all those words? If you do, just count them and see how many words you'll end up by the time we finish with all this. I bet you will get to 1,000 words at least. At least. Now the next one is una spina e una rosa. You remember that one? You remember that one? And do you remember we did the words? Yeah. Then these are the words, and then the adjectives, and I think I've done the verbs. No, there's no verbs here. Okay. Well, I have to change my situation here. Una spina e una rosa. Okay. Let's sing it together. Let's see if you can remember this. Domani è festa, questa notte si va a letto tardi. Resta con me, a quest'ora è un peccato lasciarci. Balliamo ancora, come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire, non può morire stanotte così. Notice there are the verbs. Si va, that's a reflexive verb. Si va. Resta, restare. È un peccato lasciarci, lasciare. The ci is a pronoun. We're going to do that later. Balliamo, present tense. Come se fosse, that's a subjunctive mood. That's a subjunctive mood. Come se, because it's hypothetical, as if it was the first time. Questo amore, etc. Ai, 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 una gioia, un dolore, mi dai una spina e una rosa. Ai, 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 a ballare di notte con te, quanto è pericoloso. Ma una notte così vale più della vita di un re. Del domani non mi importa niente, voglio morire stanotte con te. Questa canzone è la storia di due innamorati che come noi, se si lasciano, sono perduti. Balliamo ancora come se fosse la prima volta. Questo amore che deve finire non può morire stanotte così. Have a look at the verbs. Parliamo, una gioia, un dolore, mi dai, you give me, mi dai, present tense. Ai, 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 a ballare, infinitive, di notte con te, quanto è pericoloso. Pericoloso is adjective, you know? It's dangerous. Ma una notte così vale più della vita di un re. Valere, to be worth. Del domani non mi importa niente, I don't give a fig about tomorrow. Voglio morire, I want to die tonight with you. I don't think so, but anyway. Questa canzone è la storia di due innamorati. So, this is a song of two lovers, che come noi, like us, se si lasciano, if they leave each other, they are lost. And if you have a situation where you have a love, you're married to the person, then you're very lucky. That's come, se si lasciano, if they leave each other, they're in trouble. That's where divorce comes in. Sometimes liberating, sometimes it's not. And this is one of the songs that will remind people of that situation there. Balliamo ancora. The last time, okay. We're going to leave each other, so let's sing as if it was the first time when we met. Quest'amore, this love, that must finish, that has to, dovere. Dovere, potere, volere, they are got to be treated separately as verbs, modal verbs. Non può morire stanotte così. So that one there is another good song, and it's played in clubs and also online by by a few people. So it's good. It's a good song. Una spina e una rosa, very famous, and it's a good good song to dance to. The next one is Dio come ti amo. I don't know whether you know this one. Dio come ti amo. It's not. This is Domenico Modugno one and Gigliola Cinquetti. Actually, Gigliola Cinquetti, I like her version better than Domenico Modugno, although they're both good, but it was Gigliola Cinquetti that won the Sanremo Song Festival with this song here, one of the years, late 60s, early 70s, whatever. Okay, now this one here, I actually have the verbs listed. So the words here are il cielo, la nuvola, il braccio. I think we've done this before, but we haven't done the adjectives of this. Dio come ti amo. You know why I know? Because I've just done it. Bianchi, white, il nostro, ours, tanta, so much, le tue, yours, in tutta, all, la mia, my, caro, vero, the adjectives, mio, possessive adjectives. Then the verbs are passano, vanno, salutano, amo, avere, odorano, mi vien da piangere, ho provato is a first perfect tense. That's the one that we're going to do next week because it's the first of the composite tenses. It's called a perfect tense. Fermare, corre, chi può, cambiare. So that's one. It's an easy, present tense. Very little to do with difficult, phrases, etc. Let's have a look. Nel cielo passano le nuvole che vanno verso il mare, sembrano fazzoletti bianchi che salutano il nostro amore. Dio come ti amo, non è possibile avere fra le braccia tanta felicità, baciare le tue labbra che odorano di vento, noi due innamorati come nessuno al mondo. Dio come ti amo, mi vien da piangere, in tutta la mia vita non ho provato mai un bene così caro, un bene così vero. Chi può fermare il fiume che corre verso il mare, le rondini del cielo che vanno verso il sole? Chi può cambiar l'amore, l'amore mio per te? Dio come ti amo, Dio come ti amo. Notice here that, the music would add to this. If you listen to both Gigliola Cinquetti and just go online. You can look them up on Google, or you can go directly to YouTube, and they'll be there for you. It's both Domenico Modugno, Gigliola Cinquetti. I started off with Gigliola Cinquetti. For 6 months, I listened to her. And now I'm doing all of their work, which is beautiful. It's a way to learn Italian. You don't need to speak to other people. You can sing, if you learn this off by heart, sing it in the bathroom when you have a shower. Don't choke. Okay. Now, this one here, in Via dei Ciclamini, is another famous Italian singer, Orietta Berti. But also Gigliola Cinquetti sings it as well. A lot of Italian singers do, and some of them destroy the... but this particular song here is è una canzone molto orecchiabile, they say in Italian, orecchiabile. In other words, you can listen to it and, and also can be sung together with other people. So if you come to Federazione Lucana, we might be able to do some singing together. There you are, that's right. Bring back the theatre and the songs. And maybe, they've got a beautiful bar. They also make good pizzas, good food. Federazione Lucana. And then, of course, I'll go to other clubs as well. Goes without saying. I'm not going to stop in one place, of course. Okay, so let's go to In Via dei Ciclamini. In Via dei Ciclamini al 123. Wait a minute. The words. Do you remember these? Huh? In Via Ciclamini, Bambola, Guerra. I think you know these words. All of you know these words. But I did the adjectives, and then the verbs are here. These are the verbs. Marianne Cassino, welcome. Thank you for coming on. A real pleasure to have someone else coming on. Verbs in Via dei Ciclamini vendevano, imperfect tense. Era finita. That's a pluperfect tense. So this notice the composite tenses. Ricordo, present, scrivevo, imperfect tense. Essere. S'attacca, s'attacca, reflexive verb, si attacca. Vuole, wants, that's an irregular. Dirmelo, dire, the word. Dire is the infinitive of to say. Saying it to me. So, melo, it's me and lo, which are pronouns, which we will do eventually. I've done a few, but you need to do more. Mi hai presa. That's a reflexive verb again. Non vedo più, non più. It's a conjunction. Sono legata, feminine. So with essere, the past participle here acts like an adjective. Erano, it's the imperfect tense of to be. Abitavi, abitare, you drop the IVI and you look it up. Abitare. C'è, there is. Without the accent is end. Hanno messo. The messo is an irregular of mettere. Irregular. How do you get, how do you get messo from mettere? You can't. Va, to go. Cambiano. Si fermò. Again, another reflexive verb. Si, mi disse, reflexive. Tornerò, future tense. Era finita, pluperfect. Ho amato, perfect tense. So there you are. These are the things that you can do to actually then appreciate the songs even more. So this is In Via dei Ciclamini. And if you don't know it, go to Orietta Berti again. She sings it beautifully. Big voice, Orietta. In Via dei Ciclamini al 123 vendevano le bambole vestite come me. La guerra era finita, ma però ricordo che sui muri delle bambole scrivevo insieme a te. L'amore come l'edera s'attacca dove vuole, quel giorno senza dirmelo mi hai presa con un fiore. L'amore come l'edera s'attacca dove vuole, non vedo più le bambole ma son legato a te. Erano giorni tutti per me, erano giorni tutti per te. In Via dei Ciclamini dove abitavi tu, il muro delle bambole adesso non c'è più. Hanno messo una balena e l'ascensore va su e giù. E cambiano ogni sera le bamboline blu. In Via dei Ciclamini l'amore si fermò. Mi disse ciao bambina, un giorno tornerò. La guerra era finita, ma però ricordo che mi disse ciao bambino, ho amato solo te, solo a te. You got to check it out with it. Solo te Ho amato te o solo a te. There you are. These are the things that, for example, there are a couple of mistakes here. L'amore è come lei, there's one here where the e hasn't got an accent. L'amore è come l'edera, see that? You can't say l'amore è come l'edera. L'amore è accento sulla e, come l'edera. S'attacca dove vuole. L'edera s'attacca, l'edera di ivy. So love, you don't know. When it hits you, it hits you. So that's in Via dei Ciclamini. See how fast we're doing this now? We are doing these because the verbs, once you know the verbs and the grammar, then the actual practice becomes very easy. And that's why I've organised this. I said I will look through this Fiorin Fiorella, another good one. And you didn't know, we did the words before this one's here. And you were supposed to look it up. Il cielo, la festa, and so on. They're all easy. La verbena is a type of flower. So you have to look la verbena up. I had to. I still don't know which one is it is exactly. But again, Fiorin Fiorello is one of those songs that I know a couple of singers who bring that up in the clubs because it's easy. It's an easy one. È orecchiabile. Orecchiabile. In other words, it's easy to learn. A lot of Italian songs of the older ones. And when was it? When I was walking the night before, I listened to a few stanzas, a few bits from the Sanremo Songs Festival. Again, that's all available on YouTube. Song Festival from 1950 to 2015. And as the years went by, the 60s and the 70s left us. A few in the 80s with Albano, etc. But by the 90s, 2000, I don't know why, but I wasn't attracted to those songs. And am I showing my age? Yes. Because obviously you get to like the music that you grow up with. It's a real effort to go into other areas of music. But mind you, I don't mind even the club music. I've had my Andrew, with me for a long time, and I've had to put up with a lot of the boom, 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 boom music. But it's good. It's one way. But these ones here, these songs, are part of Italian culture now. If you're going to do a study of Italian culture from World War II onwards, the songs play a big part in the television networks and in the social networks of Italians in Italy and abroad as well. It's a connection. So Fiorin Fiorello, let's have a look. Okay, here. The adjectives in Fiorin Fiorello are tutto, ridente, tutte, il mio, innamorato, bello, il nostro, felice. The verbs are brilla, brillare, non so. I put the non before because so by itself, io so, tu sai, lui sa, noi sappiamo, voi sapete, loro sanno. That's an irregular verb as well. Vedo, vedere, posso, potere, that's an irregular, present tense. Frenare, to brake. Mi fa, reflexive. Cantare, sing. Mi fa sognare. It makes me dream. Tremare, tremble. Fa, palpitare, palpitations, makes me palpitate. Ci dà, gives us. And the di is a verb because without the accent there, the da would be from. Passa, va, from andare. Io vado, tu vai, lui va. Noi andiamo, voi andate. So that's an irregular verb again. Tu sei, present tense of essere. Io sono, tu sei, lui è, noi siamo, voi siete, loro sono. That's how you learn it. You have to learn, but once you know them, Italian is yours. Once you know the verbs is 50% of the language. And then you've got the tricky ones are the pronouns as well, because they combine prepositions. There's a whole list of them, but we're going to go into all of them. As I said, La Grammatica is finite. Once I finish, that's it. Then the next bit will be, how does this work with that? It's called the syntax. And also, how do you read the alphabet, the sounds, phonology, the different areas of the language, which you need to learn as well. Okay, let's go with Fiorin Fiorello. Just 1 second. These are the words here. Oggi tutto il cielo è in festa, più ridendo brilla il sole, e non so perché vedo intorno a me tutte rose e viole. Il mio cuore innamorato non lo posso più frenare, io non so cos'è, c'è qualcosa in me che mi fa cantare. Fiorin fiorello, l'amore è bello vicino a te, mi fa sognare, mi fa tremare, chissà perché. Fior di margherita, cos'è mai la vita se non c'è l'amore che il nostro cuore fa palpitar? Fior di verbena, se qualche pena l'amor ci dà, fa come il vento che in un momento poi passa e va. Ma quando tu sei con me, io son felice perché Fiorin fiorello, l'amore è bello vicino a te. Now, to get this song, I don't know the singer, you have to go to Google or to Chrome or to, I still can't remember the last one. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I've been, there's another third one that I use. I can't remember the words. Anyway, that's those two. And if you want to, you can go to YouTube. Fiorin Fiorello, many singers sing it. And I think, some of the classic, you got to the first ones generally give you the right way of saying it. But if you want to distort it, it's up to you. Again, you can, do un'analisi grammaticale, they used to call it in Italy. Words Fiorin Fiorello, there it is, and we did the adjectives and the verbs. Now, il cuore è uno zingaro, I think we did last week, and I did, because of the imperfect, I gave you the words, and I also gave you the verbs, if you remember correctly. But what I'm interested in seeing that, today we've done the perfect tense. Today we've done the pluperfect tense. So let's see if you can identify the pluperfect tense in front of you. Okay, il cuore è uno zingaro. There's no accent on the e. There should be an accent on the e. Primo posto Sanremo 1971. Nicola Di Bari. Okay, there was somebody else as well who sang with him, but there were always two singers. But the jury and the people chose him to be the winner. Okay, let's go. Avevo una ferita in fondo al cuore, soffrivo, le dissi non è niente ma mentivo, piangevo, per te si è fatto tardi e già notte, non mi tenere, lasciami giù, mi disse non guardarmi negli occhi e mi lasciò cantando così. Now that's interesting there. Avevo, soffrivo, imperfect tense. Le dissi non è niente, ma mentivo, piangevo, imperfect. Per te si è fatto, is the perfect tense which we're going to do next week. Si è fatto tardi, è già notte. Non mi tenere, infinitive of the verb. Lasciami giù. It's actually an imperfect, it's an imperative here. Because you're saying, lasciami giù, lasciami giù. It's imperative. Mi lasci, mi lascia, lasciami. It's an order. Lasciami giù. Mi disse, passato remoto. That's the perfect. So that's the past absolute tense. Non guardarmi. Notice that the infinitive takes these pronouns. They are reflexive pronouns. Negli occhi, e mi lasciò, from lasciare. Io mi lasciai, tu lasciasti, lui, lei si lasciò, noi ci lasciammo, voi vi lasciaste, loro si lasciarono. That's how you do it. Cantando is the gerund, is the present gerund. Only two forms. Avendo cantato is the other one, is the past of the gerund. Only two forms. Cantando and avendo cantato. And then you've got to see those two in how they're used in the practice. And this is one good example. E mi lasciò cantando, I mean, singing that way. Che colpa ne ho se il cuore è uno zingaro e va. Catene non ha, il cuore è uno zingaro e va. Finché troverà il prato più verde che c'è, raccoglierà le stelle su di sé e si fermerà, chissà, e si fermerà. La ra 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 ra, la ra 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 ra. Now notice here, che colpa ne ho, I have ne, that ne, again, we've got to study that. I have, what fault is it of me? Se il cuore is my heart, è uno zingaro e va, and it wants to run. The heart moves around. I see this beautiful rose, then I see another beautiful one. Will I go for the yellow one, or the red one, the white one? Which one will I choose? Catene non ha catene, chains. Il cuore è uno zingaro e va finché troverà, there's supposed to be an accent on the I, troverà. Future tense of trovare. Io troverò, tu troverai, lui, lei troverà, noi troveremo, voi troverete, loro troveranno. Il prato più verde che c'è, più verde, is actually comparative, più verde, that there is. Più verde is a comparative adjective. We're going to study that as well. Raccoglierà le stelle su di sé, si fermerà, and those are the future tenses. L'ho vista dopo un anno l'altra sera, rideva, mi strinse, lo sapeva che il mio cuore batteva, mi disse stiamo insieme stasera, che voglia di risponderle sì, ma senza mai guardarla negli occhi, io la lasciai cantando così. Che colpa ne ho se il cuore è uno zingaro e va, catene non ha, il cuore è uno zingaro e va, finché troverà il prato più verde che c'è, raccoglierà le stelle su di sé e si fermerà, chissà, e si fermerà. La ra 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 la ra. Notice, as I sang it, because I'm dry, my ability to hold the notes wanes. Whereas the singer, especially they train themselves for months on end. And then they go, oh, the reason for that is very simple. They want to show you just how good they are. That's what singing is. But if you sing a la Frank Sinatra, you just say the words nicely. Yeah. Avevo una ferita in fondo al cuore, soffrivo, it is, etc. You can try it. Use your own voice. See what happens. So that's it. Now let me see the time. What's the time? 12:25. Well, have I done enough today, yeah? I'm going to take some time now to go back to what I do for me. I've done enough today. We've done how many songs? You know, it's important that you remember too that this pratica is so important. We've done Una spina e una rosa, Carissimo Pinocchio, In via dei ciclamini, Dio come ti amo, Fiorin Fiorello, Il cuore è uno zingaro. So we've done 2, 4, 6, 8 songs in less than an hour. Well, isn't that, if you actually follow the songs and you learn the songs, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And there's more. There are hundreds of them that I know now. Hundreds. Go back in time. You never know. Then I'll probably give you some of my poetry. But if you are interested in my work, there is, and it's not the only one, it's TomPadula.blogspot.com. I actually have in that many chapters. In the one that says lessons, there are these ones here, the presentations that I'm making now. But for the 3 of them, Dante, and then when I get my technical person again, I'll be able to, aggiornarlo, to bring them up to date. But apart from that, there are the articles that I've written in the past. There are my poetry. There are also my books, Amica Poesia, Poetry My Friend. There are some e-books that I've been able to put up, and you can just go through the pages. A lot of fun when I go through the pages there. But I'm a bookseller. I want to sell books. And then I say, no, look, I got some eBay, the e-books that people sell online. That's a possibility too. But I'm not a big company. I haven't got there yet. That's the problem when you, as an individual, you're very limited. Therefore, you can only, but if you want to have fun, don't get involved with the big ones. Because then they own you. They own you. This is my school. Ooh. It's not your school, you just work there. The school doesn't belong to you, it belongs to them. I work for the government. You're a servant of the people. And you have to listen to the people who make the decisions. It's not yours. The hospital is not yours, doctor. No, you work there. Same thing with the Supreme Court. All of them. All these institutions. You only work there. But, can I say this? When you go into small business, and then the business owns you because you've got to pay the bills at the end of the month. You can't escape it. And if you do nothing at home, nothing. The hardest thing to do in life is nothing. When you do nothing, that's the hardest bit in life. Because you feel empty inside. You try it for 24 hours. Sit down, don't move. Get someone else to give you food. Don't lift your arm to get the glass of water. So, healthy philosophy is when you actually take the 24 hours of each day as a gift. It's simple. And that's what I'm doing right now. I use it as a gift because every day, my birthday's coming up soon, and I think, God, wherever the years gone by, but I put them to good use, I can assure you. A lot of changes, boy. And I still am changing all the time. Thank you, Angela, Rigla Patrizzi. Thank you for coming up. I'm just about to finish, but I will press the button that will say go to my Facebook page, and you'll be able to listen to what I've done today. I've done 8 songs, and I've presented the passato remoto, past absolute tense, and I've enjoyed it immensely. It's my pleasure, a real pleasure. And then after this, by the way, in half an hour time, I'll be on 3ZZZ for 10 minutes. And I will be reading there my secondo canto. You're getting it, she doesn't know, the second canto of my Le Avventure di Curiosin, which I've never finished. I've got book 1 done. There are 9 canti of 9 stanzas each. So about 800 and something. So I'm going to read them on 3ZZZ, one after the other, or take a break and then come back. But in the next few months, I'll cover the lot. Okay, well, it's 12:30. I want to thank you very much to all of you. 5 people have come on. It's good. And I can tell you that these lessons are then watched by many other people, about 40, 50, 60, 70 within a week, which is good because I don't have to know. They're here. They're here for now, tomorrow, next week, next month. They're here. My lessons are not, I don't repeat unless I have to do, some sort of, like with the songs. I have to go back in order to do l'analisi grammaticale. That's the reason. So on this note, grazie mille di nuovo. Ciao. Don't forget, Tom Padula Live will be soon. Maybe Friday I'll do the first one. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. So anytime you look me up on 11:25 to 12:30, my specials will also start at 11:25. Okay. So I just made up my mind now. Maybe I should do them like I do the other ones. Okay, thank you very much. Ciao, alla prossima. Tom TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And come and select some books and give them away. They are to be given away. If you come to me and you buy, I'll give you some books for free. Of the ones I say, not the ones you say. The ones you want, you pay. The ones I say, I'll give it to you for free. Ciao. Arrivederci. Have a good day.